So it's the Sheffield Steelers against the Edinburgh Racers in the final of this year's British Championship. The stage is now set and the atmosphere electric once again at Wembley Arena. So let's go there now live as we rejoin Paul Ferguson and Barry Davis.
Yes, Sue, there's no doubt there's a very special feel about the championship finals at Wembley. This is the 12th time they've been held here, the 13th in all, the first back at Streatham. No surprises in the lineups. Edinburgh Racers designated the home team. Of course, a surprise last night. Their second line played very well then, but once again they'll be relying on the big names to do the business for them. Tony Hand leading from the front in every sense. The semi-final yesterday afternoon is considered to have been the best match ever in the championship finals, and Sheffield Steelers came through to take their place in the final. Les Milley scoring the key goal in the penalty shootout after a 4-4 tie against the Cardiff Devils.
We're ready for the 1995.
The referee is Graham Horner. The two linesmen, Alan Craig and Andy Carson. Sheffield Steelers looking to follow recent history. Double of the league title and the championship has been achieved in the last 5 seasons. They attack the goal to our left, and here is one of their defensemen, Mike O'Connor. Tony Hand had a really excellent semi-final.
Barry, Tony Hand, number 9, the best British player ever, is one to watch. He was the #1 scorer during league play with 70 goals and 137 assists. So far in the playoffs, after 7 games, he's had 12 goals and 19 assists. But on top of that, he's playing great defensive hockey. He's scoring the goals, but he's coming back to cut out the goals. He's one to watch. If he goes well, so do the Racers.
It's interesting that in the semi-final, the Racers successfully killed 5 of 7 power plays that they faced from Nottingham Panthers. Power plays when a player in the box and the other team has a man advantage. Tim Cranston with the shot from distance. Little battle in the corner, the puck is just left. Mike Ware comes out with it. Rob Wilson just bangs it back in.
Great shot a moment ago by Tim Cranston. The first shot on Moray Hansen, he was equal to it, came up with a good glove hand save.
Here's Matulik. Had so many chances in the semi-final, finally got on the score sheet. This is a really quality line. Nemeth is another quality player playing for Sheffield. Palmer, the whistle's gone offside. Palmer was over the blue line before the puck, and that is an offside call.
Out on the ice now is Ken Priestley, number 9 for Sheffield. The Steelers will be looking to him for big things. You know, Priestley has been with the Buffalo Sabres, the Pittsburgh Penguins. He has a Stanley Cup ring. Not too many guys can say that in Britain. 54 goals, 32 assists for this 27-year-old. He is a fiery player, a class act. Working with Milley and Nemeth, the 3 of them are very, very explosive.
Edinburgh Racers with the second line on, Priest-Lamb and Edmiston. And they really produced their best form of the season, according to Racers supporters.
Milley has gone off now, and Scott Neal has gone on to that wing. Scott Neal and Milley keep jumping back and forth. Milley has been working also with Plummer and Cranston, a very good second line, if you can call it a second line. They have 2 first lines on that Sheffield team. Completely different styles, but both very effective.
Trying to achieve the championship in what is only their 4th season of existence. That's Paul Hand with the shot from the point. And out come the Steelers. Nemeth waiting for the drop. Schroeder couldn't find the way through. 12-1 back. Good battle with Nemeth. Plenty of aggression on the ice, plenty of noise and support in the crowd, but no aggression there. This is Scott Neal.
Penalty coming up, and it's going to be against the Racers. The Sheffield Steelers have taken their goalie off and put on an extra attacker.
The whistle only goes when possession is lost. And the first occupant of the penalty box makes his way. Merv Priest is the first to sit in the sin bin on Easter Sunday.
Slashing is the call. Slashing is when you chop at someone with your stick. Whether you hit or miss, it doesn't really matter. You sit for 2 in most cases.
So this is the first power play. Tulik goes to chase to keep the puck up that end. This is Chris Cullen. Just away his pass. And in fact, an offside call. 2-line pass. So it comes back right the way back to the Sheffield end. And 26 seconds of the penalty have elapsed.
The Steelers are working with their second line. Millie is out there with Plummer. Well, Plummer's just gone off. Grandstand is still out there. These guys are working well.
Priestley, the third on the line. Chris Kelland, who really dismissed the years yesterday in the semi-final. Nearer 40 than 30, I won't say more than that. Oh, bumping on the boards is Tony Hands. Katulik making a lot of movement, and Hand just trying to keep possession, almost gave it away to Tim Cranston. Paul Pentland back, does a good job. They haven't got it out of that end yet, though. Now they have, and half the penalty is elapsed.
Not a great pass from Tony Hand. Pentland came to the rescue. Some physical stuff, and he came up with the puck.
Here's Tim Cranston. Shooter alongside him, gets the shot go, and he's wide. So was that. Now in front, and they can't make it count. Millie having 2 cracks, one close, one from further out. Shooter, the captain. It's out of the attacking zone. The Sheffield players have to come out before the puck is played in. That's why Shooter didn't follow it. It would have been an offside call had he done so. 15 seconds left on the penalty, nothing to show. Scott Neal was robbed, but it's picked up by Priestley. Nemeth one side. And it's off the netting at the back.
Well, the offside whistle had blown, but what a shot from Priestley. Ken Priestley is not a big player, but watch this. He gets everything behind it. You can see the arc in the stick as the blade goes up. The glove again on the left-hand side gets a touch and enough to send it over. Having said that, the offside whistle did blow, but boy, that's frightening when that thing comes at you.
Spoken by a man who knows. It's where Paul Ferguson used to play.
I got the cuts on the back of my head to prove it.
Clock restarts, 15:50 now left in the first period. The seconds ticking away at the penalty. Wilson tries to play it through to Nemeth, and back at full strength are the Murrayfield Racers. Promising start to this final. This is Mike Ware. Good rush. Good block too. Excellent follow-up by Chris Palmer. This is Priestley. Fast, expected opening. No recipient of that pass though. And here's Edmiston. Both sides changing their lines quite a lot. Here's Paul Hand, the elder brother. Goes in, stops, stumps it in the corner. Looks for a chaser on the other side. We've had the first 5 minutes of this final. No score. Scott Blues collecting. Plays it in. So the racers couldn't collect because they were already in the attacking zone. Mike O'Connor with a shot from short of the red line. Here's Rob Wilson. But on the goal-scoring stakes in the semi-final, Tony Hand calms it down a little bit. Does tend to play this sport at his own pace, which is a sign of quality. Finds his brother, good interception by Millie again, and offside would have been called. With cagey stuff at the back from the racers. Changing their lineup again, Palmer goes off, and on came Priest, and it was his shot which Martin Mackay decides to hold on to, and just a little bit of a follow-up into the corner. They're looking a bit at Chris Kellen, and a few arms being raised. Nothing too serious yet. They've got a close-up of the plexiglass, and it's just a little push and shove.
Just another day at the office, but Horner says, no, we're going to have some penalties here. They're still going at it. I think Graham Horner wants to step on this before it gets out of control.
Well, Rob Wilson has one to go, and they pick one from each side. And Priest in the box again.
The shot comes in on goal, and it looks simple and safe enough. Mackay comes out and says, I have it, where's the whistle? And eventually Mackay goes down, and this is when Priest squares off with Chris Kellen. Kellen eventually gets out of it and stays out of it, and Wilson ends up with a penalty. Both in there for roughing.
Here's Ware. That's a good stick save by Martin Mackay.
Mackay is looking sharp, as is Moray Hansen at the other end. A couple of Scottish goaltenders used to play together on the national team and used to play together at Murrayfield. These guys are friends.
Yeah, Mackay spent 4 years at Murrayfield. Moray Hansen came out making a big save in the semi-final. And racers were outshot 40-28, but won it 11-7. Cranston's skating around the red line. The pass doesn't reach him. He nicks it off Ware, and it was crucial because he was able to get the pass in, and Shudra is the scorer of the opening goal of this final.
Tim Cranston never stopped skating. He worked hard to win that puck and then get it over to big Ron Shudra. Cranston shakes off a hook and a hole, reaches out, slides it in front, and Shudra is there to put it beyond sprawling Moray Hansen. The big defenseman who likes to get up and pretend he's a forward in the semi-final caused a few heart flutters, and on this time he actually puts it away.
But suddenly there is great applause from the fans of Edinburgh. The referee in consultation with the goal judge. What part of the anatomy was the puck put across the line? We have a controversial start here. Mr. Horner has disallowed the goal.
Oh, big decision, brave decision by Horner. Is he saying that the net was off its moorings before the puck went in? Let's look at this again. Was Shudra in the crease? Difficult to see there. Looked all right to me.
But not to the referee. And Tony Hand gets a shot at the other end. Only one man's decision that counts. Then slightly late on the whistle as Mackay got possession. So it is 0-0 still. .124 left on the two penalties. A bit more space on the ice, a bit more demand on the legs.
Well, the decision has come to us that the net was off its moorings. Didn't look like it to me. Boy, that's a brave call.
Here's Chris Kelland. That's beautifully played. Good block, good stop, and then he was spun around a bit. Shot was from Tommy Plummer. This is Dean Edmiston, Palmer up with him. Interesting variation of lines being made by both sides. We're down to a minute on the penalties, and Mike Ware doing rather better than he did a few moments ago. He's the most relieved man around. Tony Hand tries for the short side. Edmiston waits back on the blue line. Chris Palmer. Tommy Plummer just drops it into the corner. Callan gets it out of harm's way. Kruger didn't need to touch it. 2-on-2 break here. Priestley is in, and he didn't actually get the shot away. And Murray Hansen did enormously well. He could so easily have committed himself too soon. Mike Ware at the other end. Tony Hand. Palmer wide of the far post. Down to Tony Hand again. 15 seconds left on the penalty. And both sides will be back to full strength. It does make a big difference when there are two men short on the ice. Tommy Plummer again. Taken out. The penalty will be called against Paul Hand. The shot is wide. And the cry from the announcer, both teams back to full strength, but there's going to be a tripping penalty against Paul Hand.
Paul Hand goes for tripping with 7 minutes and 59 seconds gone on the period. Action at the other end of the rink. Well, there's the trip right there. Horner eventually reacts and calls the penalty long after the actual incident had occurred. You can see his arm in the air now.
So there. Paul Hand, not an unfamiliar position for him.
A moment before that, Priestley went in and just let the puck slide, and Hansen did the right thing by keeping his pad along the ice.
So second power play for the Sheffield Steelers. They had the man advantage. Nothing from the first. Where Edmiston, Paul Pentland, offside call.
Wilson hesitated just as he hit the blue line, and his wingers weren't to know that. Scott Neal raced down the left side. He kept going. He didn't know that Wilson was going to go the other way. Offside was the call.
Fourth member of the Racers quartet trying to kill the penalty is the Slovakian Ivan Matulik. Played for Sheffield last season. Played in the final when Sheffield were beaten by Cardiff. Revenge was taken yesterday. O'Connor tries to keep it in and succeeds. Down to Scott Neal, but the puck was propelled along by the hand.
Face-off comes out of the zone.
Here's Mike Ware. He will certainly be relieved because he was caught napping by Tim Cranston on the goal that never was.
Mike Ware is the defensive key for the Racers. If he can stay on the ice and stay out of the penalty box, it's good for their team. If he loses it, if he loses control of himself and starts getting silly penalties, and then the Steelers will walk all over them.
Opened up a bit for Mike O'Connor. He used it well. Nemeth blocked and then grabbed by Murray Hansen.
Hansen is looking very sharp. Nemeth went in. The left-hand shot on the right side. The shot comes in from just inside the circle. The rebound quickly smothered by Hansen.
Get a look at his protective helmet at some stage. It looks as though you're being stared at by a ghost, really. Top of it. Plummer left side, a little bit of hooking down the middle, but nothing too serious. Minute left on the penalty. Plummer waits to go in. Callan back on the blue line. So is Shudra. Callan is over this side. This is Plummer. Puck being pushed around. They can't find the finish though. And it's knocked out, but not properly. It's not away yet, but it could be now. And an arguable penalty not given. They looked at the referee, he said no.
Palmer was dumped and Horner ignored it completely. Play continues.
This is Shudra. Takes on the referee as well. 30 seconds remaining on the penalty. Tony Hand gets it out, but only as Shudra. Didn't land too kindly for him. And a little bit of waving of sticks around between Palmer and Shudra. There's going to be another penalty call against the racers. And Nemeth with the shot blocked. And Ware goes for his man, who was Kelland. Good save, Hansen. Blocked then by a defenseman in front of him. And the penalty still isn't called because racers haven't touched the puck yet except their netminder. And Paul Hand comes back to help, but they're going to lose another man any minute now. Nemeth waits on the blue line. Tony Hand touches the puck. And a roughing penalty is going to be called, and there are complaints about the one that Mr. Horner let go the other way a few moments earlier. The man who's going into the box is Chris Palmer.
Palmer really did rough it up right on the blue line, but I would have thought the Steelers would have let the racers touch the puck a long time ago. Okay, they had possession, but had they let them touch the puck and not thrown the puck around, they would have had two men in the box. Because Paul Hand was in there, they probably would have had 25 seconds with a 5-on-3 situation. Instead, they played it around. They had some good opportunities. I can't take that away from them, but a 5-on-3 is a good opportunity to come up with a goal. Now they've got a 5-on-4, still a power play, but not as good as a 5-on-3. Maury Hansen, you got to say, Barry, has come up with some world-class saves. This guy is doing wonders between the pipes out there.
Restart of the clock at 9:52. Full value in ice hockey. Another good stop by Hansen. Every time the play stops, the clock stops. 3 20-minute periods. Overtime, if needs be, after that. Chris Kelland. Neil is down the left side. Here he is on the left wing. Thought about switching it across. Goes down that side himself instead. Dug out by Tim Cranston, who's one of the best diggers around. 30 seconds of the penalty have elapsed. Tony Hand in possession for Edinburgh. Now loses. They left Mike Ware back. Tulik. Well, was he tripped there? Here's Shudra. Good stop by Mike Ware. Just filled the slot in between the two. This is Kelland. Half the penalty has gone. Third chance for Sheffield. Wilson in front, but he took a bit of time to get it onto his shooting side. That's often the problem. He's calling for it again. They've got one either side. Goal. Kelland switches well. And just wide by Cranston. Wilson. Nobody down that side. Neil then given a bit of time, but no longer. 30 seconds of the penalty left. And Machulik, the Slovakian, trying to bore his way through. Can't get past Shudra. But they're killing the penalty supremely well again, racers.
Scott Neal hung on to that puck too long, and it almost resulted in a shorthanded goal. A great move by Machulik to bring the puck down, and he almost broke through Wilson. You see the speed of that Ivan Machulik, the Slovak who played for the Czechoslovakian side when they won the World Championships in '87. Boy, the guy can burn these defensemen if they get caught in the wrong position.
Penalty all over. So 3 successful killings by the racers. They've gone a bit quiet for a moment. Don't often get that in ice hockey. This is Palmer, and he's just come out of the box, and an offside call. Richie Lamb moved too soon.
For those watching for the first time, an offside occurs when a player goes over the blue line ahead of the puck. You can see the blue line there on your screen. If the or the Edinburgh Racers rather take the puck over and a man precedes the man with the puck, then the whistle blows.
The area between the two blue lines, the neutral zone, and between the blue line and the goals, the attacking or defensive zone, depending on whether you're attacking it or defending it, of course. Rob Wilson waiting to see who's moving. Not a lot at the moment. Nemeth goes off to the right. O'Connor is looking after Priest. So Wilson brings it out. Had two for company, didn't do much with it. Plays it back in. Wilson. Just a touch untidy for a moment. Wilson again. Oh! And he got the most extraordinary deflection. And Tommy Plummer will be credited with the goal. But there was an element of fortune about that. But there was no deliberate attempt by him to play it in with his body or kick it in. But it was Wilson's shot that was deflected by him, and I don't think he knew too much about it, but that's what we've got. We've got a goal.
6 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first period. Wilson takes the shot. Watch this. It's well wide of the target. It takes a deflection, and it goes in behind the stick of Maury Hansen. He doesn't see this. Plummer is racing in, and the deflection is there. Hansen does not have a chance to move on this.
It's been credited the goal to Wilson. I think the last person to deflect it was in fact Scott Plews. So therefore the goal is credited to Wilson. Plummer was the stealer in attendance, but it didn't actually touch him, it touched the defenseman. So Steelers in the lead, winners of the league title. First place team in the league has reached the final for the 8th time, won 6 of the previous 7. Here's Tommy Plummer, trying to build on the lead. Oh, brilliant! He's done precisely that. Well, we were a bit ahead of ourselves there, Paul. Plummer's got a goal now.
An excellent solo effort from Tommy Plummer. He's being mobbed along the near side, along the plexi by his teammates. What a great goal. Takes the puck from neutral ice territory. Pentman goes one way, splits the defense. Where was Mike Ware? Goaltender backing up into the cage, expecting a little support. It didn't come. Ware on one side, Pentland on the other, 2 experienced players, and he goes right between them and puts it in the corner.
2 goals in the space of 24 seconds. And 2 unassisted goals. The first by Wilson, the second by Plummer. Sheffield Steelers, who had to come from behind against Cardiff, find themselves 2 up in the final. Here's Tony Hand. What's he going to do about that? Taking on Kelland. Another former Murrayfield player, Chris Kelland. 11 seasons there, in fact. Steelers take the sting out of it just for a moment. There's Tim Cranston. Likes to buzz around. Let a bit of rubber go from time to time. Hansen falls over of his own volition, but it is a touch slippery out there. Field down the right side. Pass not taken by Palmer. Matulik haven't got themselves together again, racers, since conceding those 2 quick goals. As Chris Kelland. This is good play by Kelland, and by Maury Hansen, came to meet him. Calmly out. Ivan Matulik at full steam ahead. Blocked by Martin Mackay.
I love to watch this guy skate. Oh, he has an extra gear somewhere. I don't know where he gets it from. Just when you think he's going to start steaming out the back, he goes up 1 gear, and he let the shot go on the fly. Mackay came up with a save and eventually smothered it, but exciting to watch.
We have not quite the entire band, but certainly the noise is part of it. Story the drums are telling is there for all to see, not to mention here. Paul Hand back to collect. We've had 3/4 of the opening period, so 5 minutes remaining in it. Priest has to stop and start again. Paul Hand Wilson just invites him to bounce off the boards a bit. Out come the Steelers, looking the stronger at this stage, but then a goal can lift the spirits and lift the styles. It's Priestley. Good stuff between Priestley and Nemeth. Connor puts it back in. And they haven't seen it yet, the racers. Wilson fancies another crack. Neil instead, little flick. Nemeth. Now Wilson. Well played into the corner, where Neil is stopped in his tracks. Priest. Mike O'Connor won the championship with Durham Wasps. 6 different sides have won it, and the referee is certainly going to call a slashing penalty for that.
Mike O'Connor a little frustrated on the far side of the rink because he received a little chip, and so he retaliated right in front of the official, and that's the one they always see, the second one, and it's going to cost them 2 minutes. With 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining on the first period, O'Connor sits in the penalty box.
His former team, Durham Wasps, won in 87, 88, 91 and 92, but his penalty now playing for Sheffield brings up the first power play for the Murrayfield Racers. Whack. Tony Hand at the face-off. Chris Palmer to his left, Matulik to his right. Edmiston back as a defenseman, so in theory an extra attacker on here for racers.
They do have a tendency to put their forwards back on the blue line during the semi-final. Tony Hand was spending a lot of time for the racers back on the blue line during the power play. As you said, now Edmondson is there with Ware.
Tim Cranston gets it out. So racers have got to come out, regroup, get up a bit of speed. Tony Hand is down the right side. This is Ivan Matulik. Palmer now on the right side. Puck hasn't crossed the blue line yet. Taken back in by Shudra. 30 seconds left. Cranston not chasing, he's marking. 30 seconds gone, I beg your pardon. Now we've had 2 or 3 like that during the course of these finals at Wembley. Bounce coming off at a very cool angle.
Goaltender's nightmare. The puck goes into the corner. You think, okay, it's going to go all the way around the net. Suddenly it hits something in that corner. I don't know what it is, but it bounces right out front. They have to be aware of that.
Edmiston, he plays it round. Mike Ware moving into a threatening position. But he was slightly ahead of the puck. He's had half the penalty. And Racers not putting too much together yet.
They haven't been given the room during the semi-finals. Tony Hand, Matulik, and Palmer had lots of room. The Steelers are closing them down. They're staying right in their faces.
Tony Hand trying to work an opening. Collected by Palmer. Dug out awkwardly by Ware. Never looked like managing to go on with it. Spinning puck ends up at Hansen. Pentland down to Tony Hand. Trying to find somebody unmarked. And they haven't been able to do that. Good penalty killing. And plays it in to Palmer. Tulik coming in from the right, now in front of the net. Ware further back. Mike O'Connor is out of the box. And we're inside the last 2 minutes of the opening period. Steelers leading by 2-0. Here's Palmer. Here's a chance for a break with Plummer. Priestley, they looked at the referee. Priestley went down, no trip.
That should have been a hooking call. Priestley was off to the races there, and he was brought down before he could get the puck. Interference or hooking, either way you look at it, it was an illegal penalty or an illegal call. Should have been whistled down.
Palmer waits back on the blue line. Referee won't whistle until he can't see the puck. It's only the third time for the record that the team finishing in 4th place in the league competition of 44 games made it to the final. Past record shows 1 win and 2 defeats. That's the position that Edinburgh Racers are in. Edmiston comes calmly to the face-off against Grandstand. Priest on the right, comes out to Wilson. Even Mike O'Connor wasn't sure whether that had been released by Wilson or not. Wilson hanging on still and going for a little ride, and not a bad try either.
The racers are waiting a long time to put an end to these rushes. The defensemen are going the complete distance of the rink and then getting the shots away. Okay, that one was easy for the goaltender, but there's no attempt to stop these guys at their own blue line or in the neutral zone. They're waiting until they get deep in their own territory to make the stop, and it's too late then.
Priest out of the clock. 1:08 in the first period. Sheffield leading 2-0. Edmiston again against Grandstand. But at the other end this time. Grandstand can't get hold of Grandstand, who drops it back, and Nemeth can't get the shot away. Good defensive play by Richie Lamb. Here's Rob Wilson. Period ending quite quietly with Sheffield in control. But things can change very quickly in ice hockey. Speed of the two goals proved that. O'Connor. Nemeth carried it a bit, but gets away with it. Here's Millie. Good solid pad behind the stick. Maury Hansen. 30 seconds of the period left. Can't dig it out. Whistle goes. There'll be a face-off to the right of Maury Hansen's goal. Probably the last of this opening period. Change of lines.
We talked about the depth when we saw Nottingham play the other day, and we said that they should have been the winners because they had more players to play with, more players that they used. I think it's working now when we refer to Sheffield, because Sheffield are putting on more players than the Racers are, and they seem to be fresher as this game goes on. Time will tell.
Another good stop by Maury Hansen. Had to be very sharp on the face-off. Tony Hand just plays it into the corner as the final seconds of this opening period tick away. And the two goals for Sheffield Steelers from Wilson at 13:10, from Plummer at 13:34, two in the space of 24 seconds, have put Sheffield Steelers in search of their first championship very much in the driving seat. They've looked the better side in this opening period, and the scoreline proves it.
So the early advantage goes to the league champions, the Sheffield Steelers, and we'll be back with the conclusion of that British Championship final at around 10 to 4 this afternoon. But now snooker, and we will be joining the continuation of the match between... But now ice hockey and the conclusion of the British Championship final between the Sheffield Steelers and the Edinburgh Racers. When we left it at the end of the first period, the Sheffield Steelers were leading 2-0. We can now rejoin it in the second period. No further score, but each team is one player short. Let's rejoin Paul Ferguson and Barry Davis.
Edmiston and Ware back on the blue line, and Matulik. It's Mike O'Connor for Sheffield. Comes out unmolested, just plays it down to Wilson, and that's a good pass, and but for a brilliant save, Tim Cranston would have made it 3-0.
Excellent save by Hansen. Cranston broke right in, but Maury Hansen once again came up really big.
Still that extra zip about Sheffield. Options either way. Cranston trying to get Wilson in. Tony Hand. Matulik. Back to Tony Hand. First time he's tried a little shift and shimmy. Here he is again. Blocked. The second time he's got it in. Placed it between the legs after the first shot had been blocked. And the racers are on the scoreboard. Their drums aloft.
Both teams still have a player in the penalty box. A good second effort by Tony Hand. This guy is always so dangerous. Dean Edmondson alert halfway back to the blue line to find Hand at the side of the net. The save is made. O'Connor can't get the stick in. The second attempt by Hand is good. O'Connor realizes that he's slightly out of position here, tries to get back in. Hand is all alone. Good save by McCoy. Can't make the second one though.
Racers 1, Steelers 2. You were suggesting, Paul, that there's been a certain amount of pacing by the Edinburgh team.
Absolutely, they depend on pace because they don't play that many players. And they rely on few players to go the distance, and so they can't... Oh, they scored!
It's goal square, and Chris Palmer is the scorer. Had a touch of fortune about it.
When we were talking during the semi-final when Sheffield were playing, we're saying keep the puck away from his gloved hand, keep it on the ice. That's where Martin McCoy is weakest. If he does have a weak point, watch this one. Palmer takes a slice at this. It really seems to be quite a gentle shot. McCoy loses it downstairs. From a different angle here, the shot comes in, the goalie isn't set, his stick is facing the wrong way, and he's lost it.
And it squeezes its way through. And Chris Palmer has tied it at 2-2. Jock Hayes' plan was to take it a little comfortably during the opening period, up the pace a little bit in the second. That's how it's looking now. Steelers well deserving of the 2-0 lead at the end of the first period. But very even contest in this now after the comeback by racers. Scott Blues around the back of his own net, chased by Tim Cranston. Puck rolling away a little bit from him. Gets a second chance. Just a minor bit of hooking going on. Edmondson tried to come this way. Let's see who got him. And this is Cranston, and that's a goal. Tim Cranston restores the lead, and Scott Blues carries on just a little bit from a moment ago. But Grandstand suddenly found some room. All the styles will do off the ice. Grandstand finding the style on the ice.
Cranston has threatened so many times in this game. The wrist shot, well placed, upstairs in the top of the net. Goaltender beaten on the stick side. Nice little pass forward, simple play. Defenseman Paul Hand backing in. Hansen is beaten upstairs on that one. You got to stop these guys before they get in that close. Tough to miss from that angle.
Tim Cranston. Plummer decides he's had enough, so Cranston is on his own here and not doing too badly on his own. Kick out in front, but if there had been somebody else up with him, that might have been another goal.
The rebound was laying there, waiting for someone to whack it in.
Tony Hand drops for Mike Ware. Didn't look at his most gamely there. And Priestley is on his own. In on Murray Hansen. Fine finish by Priestley. And really that all came as a result of Mike Ware finding the puck not quite where he wanted it, no pun intended. Couldn't get the shot away. Suddenly they get caught, and Priestley is away on his own. And Sheffield have restored their 2-goal advantage.
Ware got caught. Perhaps he should have got rid of the puck a lot sooner than he did. His first attempt at shooting it towards the net deflected off a shin pad. Priestley has the freedom of the ice, and he puts it in on the glove hand side. While we're looking at this, Mike Ware is being restrained in front of the commentary position and now being sent to the penalty box. This is what the racers don't need, Barry. As I said at the beginning of the game, if Mike Ware starts to lose his composure, then the defense has a great big hole in it, and he is their defense.
And 2 in the box for both sides. Les Millie has gone off as well. There seemed to be a protest on the way the goal was scored. Scott Neal, the former Edinburgh player, is the Sheffield player who's in the box, and it's all getting a little bit chippy. They're protesting about the goal.
While the goal was being scored, Mike Ware was starting to get very physical in the neutral zone right in front of the officials. No doubt about that goal.
12:49 gone in the middle period. 7:11 remaining. Just guided away by Maury Henson. Counts in the shots on goal. Interesting try by Nemeth, and almost got a flick in by Priestley. Racers certainly could do with cutting the deficit again before the break. Offside, 2 lines.
The Sheffield Steelers have been very good at getting these long passes up. The racers are starting to get themselves in deep. When the Steelers pick up the puck, they're firing it forward beyond their own blue line, and next thing you know, you have a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2 break, and it's working. They've got fast guys like Nemeth, Priestley, and Plummer and Grandstand up there who can turn these defensemen around. It makes hard work for the racers' defense, that's for sure.
Collected by Tony Hand. For a moment, it looked as though he was going to get through. Scott Blues bounces out in front, nobody following in. This is Shudra. Edmiston has gone down under pressure from Priestley. And the referee said, "I saw you."
Ken Priestley goes to the box for tripping. Edmiston upended, way off the play, nothing much happening, and all of a sudden Edmiston was sitting on his backside. But now it's Priestley who's sitting on his backside. We'll be there for the next 2 minutes.
Third power play of the final for the Murrayfield Racers. Really do with making it count. Here's Tony Hand back on the point. Mike Ware. Whipped across the posts. Ware again. Has to be Ware too. Can occasionally get caught. This is Tim Cranston. Pushes and goes. Hanson aware. Rolling puck. Wasn't too kind, but picked up by Palmer. Here's Dean Edmiston. Matulik up inside. And Palmer managing to control puck and remove opponent's stick at the same time. Switched across by Tony Hand. Hand still waits on the blue line this side. Cranston is aware of his presence. 4 pass. And we're down to the last 30 seconds of the middle period. The penalty looks like it's going to carry over into period number 3. Tony Hand trying to prevent that happening. He's got 15 seconds to do it. That's more than long enough for him if he can get his stick down on the puck, and he's being denied that pleasure. Palmer. Oh, there was a shooting chance then, but Matulik didn't seem to want to take it. Shot from distance, kick straight out, back again by Edmiston. Of the hooter goes, the penalty will carry over. And we've had 4 goals in the period, but Sheffield find themselves where they were at the start with a 2-goal advantage. They now lead the Edinburgh Racers by 4 goals to 2.
Just as expected, a very competitive final in progress. Let's now go live to Wembley Arena for the start of the third period. Here's Paul and Barry once again.
Where we await the arrival of the two teams. And Sheffield Steelers will start this final period with a man still in the penalty box, Priestley, for a spell of 42 seconds. It's going to be Sheffield who will come out first. 2-goal advantage still theirs, but it's still anyone's game, Paul.
Absolutely, it's wide open, 20 minutes of hockey to go. The first goal, Barry, I feel will be very important. If Edinburgh can pop a goal, then it will raise their level of confidence. It will bring them right back into the game, as did their first goal in the second period by Tony Hand. They improved immensely when Hand scored. Palmer came back quickly to tie the score, and they really did look like they were contenders. Grandstand has been playing an excellent hockey game. This guy sometimes is overlooked when you consider the heroes on the Sheffield side. He's working well with Plummer. These two have been the difference. They're skating all over the ice, they're throwing their weight around, and they're getting the goals.
And the shots on goal in the second period, 13 on Maury Hansen, 6 on Martin Mackay for 2 goals apiece. Total 23 on Maury Hansen and 14 on Mackay, so Hansen, as in the semi-final against Nottingham Panthers, keeping his side in business.
The Racers don't play a defensive game. They rely heavily on their defensemen to defend and for their goaltender to keep the puck out of the net. He gets far more shots than most people, I fear, but Hansen is equal to it. He's a former Great Britain goaltender, as is Martin Mackay at the other end, but right now it's Hansen's show. He is performing really well. A lot of breakaways, a lot of close-in shots that he's kicking out.
So who will be the 7th name on the championship trophy? The team from which Edinburgh Racers were born. Murrayfield Racers won in 1986, and they were runners-up 4 times, and only once they missed out on reaching the last 4 here at Wembley. Just that one success. This is the man they've got to beat. Martin Mackay, who spent 4 years as a Murrayfield racer. It's now the backstop of the Sheffield Steelers. No success yet from a power play, but Priestley in the box. This is the 3rd for Edinburgh Racers power play. Their opponents have had 5, and it would really set this final on its ears if Racers can make this power play count here. Down the back, Palmer trying to dig it out. Mike Ware didn't really get hold of it, broke his stick in the process. He's got to go back and defend without a stick. And Tim Cranston trying to take advantage of that. He's just pushed out wide. Good catch by Maury Hansen. Good save. Good angle again by the netminder.
Ware did well to stay with Cranston and get in front of the shot. He did what he was supposed to. He was without a stick, but still he forced Cranston wide. The shot goes for the glove hand side, and Hansen is there to hang on easily.
11 seconds remaining on the penalty. Sheffield have the puck down at the correct end from their point of view. Steve Nemeth at the face-off with Dean Edmiston, comes out, races way, and they try to race away with Tony Hand. Ken Priestley out of the box, and there's going to be another penalty immediately.
Well, Priestley steps out, but someone else will step back in. Hooking is the call as Scott Neal works his way to the penalty box. There's the hook right there on Michulik. He goes down at the blue line, and that'll cost him 2 minutes.
Time of the penalty, 46 seconds.
So just 46 seconds into the period. 1 out, 1 in. Still the advantage in personnel for the Racers. Got to go back and collect the puck though. Where? In no special hurry, it seems. Tony Hand, Matulik down the left wing. Palmer that side too. Matulik comes across to the right. Hand takes it into the attacking end and is well dispossessed. Paul Pentland couldn't hold it in, so all the racers have got to come out. The puck must go in the attacking end before any player of the attacking side. Ware again. Played around the boards looking for Palmer. Tony Hand trying to set it up. Pentland didn't know where it had gone. Came off bodies and a bit of the piping. Palmer. Matulik waits. Priestley didn't get hold of it. Tried to get it out, didn't succeed. Palmer pushes it back again. They've got a man in front, but they've given the puck away. And this is Tommy Plummer, who just decides to hang on, had no support. He can play it back, waste a few seconds, kidding penalty, part of the art of playing ice hockey. Pentland back to collect. Racers really with nothing to show from the continued penalty from the second period and a new one in the third. Palmer off the plexiglass at the back, collected by Kellen. Penalty is down to 30 seconds. Good bit of football, but then a collision. There's going to be another penalty for a quite unnecessary cross-check.
Horner dishing out his second penalty of the period. Interference.
No penalty for that, but that's the penalty against Kellen. Stick was up, but they called it interference.
Either way you look at it, Kellen sits for two. Hitting from behind is very dangerous, and they're stamping that one out if they can. So they'll call it whatever they want as long as they can get the guy in the penalty box to teach him a lesson. No hitting from behind.
Now this is a real chance for Murrayfield, for Edinburgh racers. It's very easy to call them their old name. They still play in the same rink alongside the famous rugby ground. They have 5-on-3. Really do have to make this count.
Well, we'll watch for Sheffield to set up the triangle if Edinburgh get possession.
Palmer goes for the shot. And not too far away on the near side. There was a bit of a gap there left by Mackay. 15 seconds remaining on the first penalty. Tony Hand in possession. Mike Ware fires it around. Well kept in by Palmer. Looks for Tony Hand again. Palmer what's at this side. Ware the other side. And it's loose across. Whistle goes. 1 second left on the first penalty. 1:37 on the second.
They're not setting it up to get the quality shots. Ware took a couple of shots from a sharp angle. They weren't good positions for scoring. With a 5-on-3, if you throw that puck around, you're going to find someone free out there. You have two extra men. If you start moving and create opportunities, create openings, it's going to happen. Don't shoot from silly places. Wait. They've got time.
Dean Edmiston and Tim Cranston. Linesman says, I don't want you, Edmiston. Gets him out of the way, and Palmer takes over instead. One man back, Tony Hand gets in, half a shot. Look for the flick on by Palmer. Race is still not looking that likely. And there's going to be another penalty. And to the delight of the Sheffield supporters, this time it's a racer, Ivan Matulik.
Cranston was scampering in front of his own net, and he started to break away from Matulik. Matulik dragged him down. Again, it took Horner a long time to call this penalty, but it was the right decision.
3 minutes of the final period have elapsed. 4-play-4. 1:22 left on the first penalty. Here's Mike O'Connor. Rob Wilson leads the charge down the middle, dumps it in, goes to chase it himself. Edmiston in receipt off the boards. Tony Hand. Palmer down the right wing, cuts in behind him, looks for the drop pass which doesn't come. Hand going the long way around, held out by Mike O'Connor. Ware back on the blue line. Emerson comes to collect it a bit shorter in. Tony Hand again, controlling things but not yet finding the opening. Ware, good stop. Now Ware having to do the defensive chore in the neutral zone. He's in possession again. Edmiston, 30 seconds left on the first penalty, and a steal, almost. Edmiston got back, they've still got a real chance here, the whistle's gone. Offside call.
Plummer is so fast on that quick break, he really is difficult to slow down, but Edmiston did the right thing, got the stick in there, and kept his legs working.
And Mike Blaisdell, so they all please come to the timekeeper's bench after the game. So we have Nicky Chin, Ashley Tate, and Mike Blaisdell to come to the timekeeper's bench.
Palmer adjusting the shoulder pads, ready to get on with the match. He's made half a break. Hand on the right side, didn't make the pass count though. Shooter on the counter, Nemeth down the left wing, gets the drop pass. Looks to play it in, good block. Needed the second one as well. Hansen doesn't know where it's gone. It's dug out at the back. They've still got a man in front. And that man in front makes it count. And Sheffield Steelers have increased their lead. The man who put it there was the hero of yesterday. Les Millie, a Scotsman, finds a fifth goal against the team based in Scotland.
Shudra, Nemeth, and Millie were buzzing around that net. Nemeth set up Shudra, he almost scored a goal. Millie comes in with the one-timer and makes no mistake on that. From our camera behind the goal, Hansen moves out, not set for the shot. It came so quickly to the far side of the net.
Sheffield supporters who are doing the gymnasticals. First power play goal of this final. 4:22 in the final period. Scored by Les Millie. Long delay before the restart. And a bit of tape present from Machulik to the referee. Penalty all over, the goal scored, and a lot for Edinburgh racers to do. Icing called, puck will come all the way back down the other end. Had a really good championship finals here at Wembley, Murray Hansen. Nothing he can do down the other end. Racers need a bit more belief. They found it in the second period when they got it back to all square. But all the celebrations are of Sheffield style. Won by Tim Grandstand, whose playing style really typifies what Sheffield have produced over their 4 seasons, coming from birth to the ultimate success in British ice hockey if they win this championship. Machulik, well dispossessed very calmly by Shudra. 15 minutes remaining. No one looking for Cranston, and then Pentland is aware that he's there. Mike Ware told him. Racers need to up the pace a bit, and it won't help if Machulik thumps Tony Hand to the ground inadvertently, but they're all over the place at the moment, the Edinburgh team.
They're not playing with the conviction they played with in the semi-final, that's for sure. They need some inspiration from somewhere. They're not getting it from Tony Hand right now. I can understand why. He's on the ice most of the time. He must be very, very tired indeed. I think it's time for the second line, Barry, to pull up their socks. Edmiston, Lamb, and Priest have to do what they did in the semi-final, and that's score goals as well as hit bodies and knock them down. They're not doing that. They got to start hitting people.
Here's Mayor Priest, who got a hat-trick in that semi-final. They're not making the passes count either, and that was a typical example. He fell over the stick. That wasn't a deliberate trip. Here's Wilson. Lets it go and isn't far away either. Hand. Paul Hand. Richie Lamb. Been really very quiet compared with semi-final, and again the pass not made to count. Question of how much they want it. Dean Edmiston. Calmly taken out of the play, never looked like getting through. Puck was over the blue line, surely. The linesman said no, it wasn't. I must find out where his optician is. Nemeth. Oh! And he beats Maury Hansen low down. Struck it really well and beat Hansen, clean as a whistle. And the Sheffield supporters feel that the day is theirs.
Paul Hand gets out of the way so the goalie can see the shot, but he can't catch this. Nemeth lets a screamer go, and you won't find a better position shot than that. Just inside the post, just off the ice. That's textbook stuff. Great goal from Nemeth. Maury Hansen unable to get across and get down to that one. This is really a rocket of a shot. An excellent goal from Nemeth.
Well, Steve Nemeth, 27 years old, from Calgary. He's been with Sheffield since the start. Made 100 points this year, 107 in the league contest, from which the qualifiers are produced. 6 who then go into semi-final groups, 4 come through to the Wembley finals, 2 semi-finals and the final. That's how it's worked out in British ice hockey. Here's Plummer. Sent it down the ice well with his skate. Millie. Plummer moves inside, now in front of the nets. Sheffield running the match. And if Edinburgh aren't careful, they could run away with a score. 4-goal gap. Tony Hands. Grandstand reading his intention. Tony Hand not with the same sparkle. We saw just a bit of it in the middle period. He's coming now on the right side. Bouncing puck, come to be collected, kept in by Ware. Desperation, the need for a goal for racers. A little bit of push and shove. Referee looks at it, not impressed.
The Steelers are winning this game, obviously, because they're scoring more goals, but they're playing great positional hockey out there. They're not out of position. Look, right now they have 4 guys on the blue line.
But at least that was a bit more like the real Tony Hand.
Difficult to control that bouncing, rolling puck for Tony Hand. But he was breaking through. The puck was well ahead of him, but there were 4 Steelers back. This is good defensive stuff. The wingers were picked up, and the goaltender had no problem holding on to that. I guess a lot of credit has to go to Clyde Toole and Alex Dampier for putting this squad together. They certainly are disciplined today anyway.
Clock restarts. 12:15 remaining. A little bit lucky to get away with that. This is Paul Hand. But there does seem to be a lack of belief among the racers. Seem to have played their final yesterday. So often the case, the team that wins the second semi-final suffers in the final. Mike O'Connor, because of that, they're trying to make this championship into 3 days for a while. Dean Edmiston holds off the challenge. Edmiston, Priestley, and again. And the cry from the Sheffield supporters is, are you watching Nottingham? They caught Nottingham, who seem to be about to win the league title. Loose in front, here's Rob Wilson. picked up by Richie Lamb. Just has to play it in as the line changes again.
This is tenacious stuff from the Steelers. Their forechecking is very, very strong indeed. They're running the team, the racers, ragged right now. They're all over them.
And this is Rob Wilson going all the way. I think you can say that he enjoyed that. One end to the other. Smooth skating. Telling finish. And they're running away with the match.
It's not an easy job being a goaltender for the Edinburgh Racers, especially when you see a defenseman come all the way up on you without anyone taking him on. A good move by big number 5, Rod Wilson. Just like a forward out there, moving the puck around to his backhand side. No one there to take him on. Pentland goes over and just watches him go around. Comes in from a sharp angle onto the backhand side, tucks it under right into the post, into the net.
3 goals in a 5-minute spell. And Sheffield Steelers in complete control. And they're still hungry. Tim Grandstand. What a contrast with 12 months ago when they won their semi-final. They got a shutout to get to the final, and then really just didn't get going in the final. They were missing their key defenseman of that season, Odeline. Well, they come at all ages, but I think if you want to report on the match, that probably isn't the person to go to. Tony Hand gets it away. As I was saying, last year they got to the final and were beaten 12-1 by Cardiff. Very different feeling now. Opportunity there for Ware to pull one back, which wasn't taken. Now another chance. Tony Hand, another chance not taken by Machulik. Couple of opportunities in quick succession.
Good-looking stuff from the Racers, but they were unable to knock it over that red line.
Palmer, top 3 scorers in the league battle out on the ice, all from Edinburgh. And Machulik and Palmer, they let Priestley get away, but 2-line pass, and it'll be pulled back. Rob Wilson, scorer of 2 goals.
2, 4, 0, 3.
And I don't know whether Tony Hand is aware of it, but he now has 48 points over finals at Wembley. Scored 1 and made 1. But he's going to have to produce something very, very special if Racers are to save this. It's happened, but it doesn't look likely on this particular occasion. Neil around the back. Nemeth quick to lift up the knees, get in. Couldn't make it count though. Edmiston didn't know he had it and just turned and put it anywhere. Bad play by Edmiston. And Maury Hansen had to get him out of trouble. It's going to be a penalty now. Another roughing penalty.
The Steelers have become stronger as this game has gone on. They're skating like they're in the opening minutes of the first period here. Clues is going to the penalty box. Number 77 providing the rough stuff behind the red line. That'll cost them a couple of minutes with just 9 minutes and 21 seconds left on the clock.
One forearm jab, one a bit closer to the hand, and he's away. It's all part of the sport of ice hockey. Chris Kellan couldn't keep it in. He's waited a long time to get on the championship roll again. Been captain of the Great Britain side, which got a victory yesterday against Holland and may well stay in Group B as a result of that. in the World Championship. Clash between this championship and the international requirements couldn't have been more inconvenient. Priestley, offside. He weren't quite sure where he was going. He went the long way around and somebody crossed the blue line first.
The Sheffield Steelers changing their lines more and more frequently now. They know they've got a 5-goal cushion out there. Every 30-35 seconds seems to be the policy, the strategy.
Sheffield's got a one-man advantage for another 1 minute and 23 seconds of now. Kelland, Wilson, Millie left side, Plummer down the middle. Wilson leading from the back again. He's enjoyed these rushes. Scored in the semi-final, scored 2 in the final. A lot of movement around. Kelland is available over this side. Number 21 switches to Wilson. Cranston lets it go. Minute left on the penalty. Still Cranston. Races forward, trying to cover all the angles. Wilson kicked out well by Hansen. Chased in by Cranston. Hasn't stopped in either match. Well held in by Hansen, but comfortable height for the netminder.
It's a bit like a shooting gallery out there. They're coming from all angles on Laurie Hansen. He's doing a great job, even though he has conceded 7. Kelland lets this one go perhaps a little too high for anyone to get a stick on and tip it down.
.36 seconds left on the penalty. 7:57 on a final which, has to be said, is not as good as yesterday's semi-final. There was a feeling all along that the meeting of Cardiff and Sheffield would hold the key to who would be the champions of 1995. And that now seems to be the case. I'm sure the Cardiff supporters will feel that their side was the second best here. They probably wouldn't even concede that, would they? Beaten in the penalty competition.
Well, I spoke to John Lawless, the coach of the Cardiff Devils, after the game, and he said he would rather go out losing in penalty shots than something like 8-2. It was a very respectable showing indeed.
Well, there's some debate about the time. Difference of 1 minute between the clock. That figure on the left, would you believe, is a 6, and that may be half the problem. It's not all the lights have come up on several occasions, but the timekeeper keeps the time and gives it to us.
From 9 to 7 minutes.
And we've had a jump of the clock, and so dare I say this, but BBC television are spot on.
The clock, they say, jumped from 9 to 7, forgot about 8. And I think it was Ron Shooter who pointed it out. He's winning. I would have thought he would have stayed quiet.
Yes. Surprised that they found that a surprise. I find that time jumps very quickly, especially when I'm trying to wake up in the morning. Here's Mike O'Connor. Always seems to be a bit later than you think. Here's Mike O'Connor, comes to collect. 30 seconds left on the penalty, assuming that hasn't jumped as well. And O'Connor coming from the back again, Nemeth. Disappointing, I have to say, to see that Sheffield are still hungry and wanting to get a bit more, but Edinburgh really don't seem to be offering too much. They were a man short then, but I think we're entitled to expect a bit more in the final than we're getting from them now in this final period.
It would appear that they have given up. Another goal with 7 minutes remaining would bring them back into this. You can score goals very quickly in hockey, but as you said, Barry, the Steelers seem to be hungry. The Racers aren't right now.
had a lot of support, made the journey down from Edinburgh. They wanted something to cheer. They had it yesterday. They had it for a while in the second period today. But it's all gone away from Edinburgh in the final period. The clock is now caught up to our clock. 6:35 left. More tunes to be played. Long delay at the face-off. Edmiston against Grandstand. Pentland, he had time to come that side, then he flicked at it. Lamb just bangs it in, so the racers have to come out. Kelland. Patrick O'Connor getting a bit of ice time on the left side. Still look keen and sharp. Merv Priest, hat-trick in the semi-final, been notable in the final only for his appearances in the penalty box. Priest goes to complain to the referee about that, and Cranston's got away! No, two-line pass.
The idea was right, and the Steelers continue to apply the pressure. He's got a big smile from ear to ear. He knows that had he been astride the other way, he'd probably been away on a breakaway.
I think he knows, although it hasn't been announced officially, I think he knows that you just made him man of the match for the Sheffield Steelers. Vote was yours.
I just hope his check is in the post, like he said.
Tony Hand down to big Rob Wilson. Out to the left side to Plummer, into Priestley. Good stop. Lovely move though. Really cut down the ice on the left wing. Tony Hand had to pull back as Matulik was already in the attacking zone. Hand again. Drops it for Palmer. Matulik. Driven in by Pentland. Matulik. Sudden spell from racers. Long overdue. Doesn't last too long. Ware. Palmer collects after the fall by Pentland. We're inside the last 5 minutes. There is no doubt about the destiny of the championship. Tommy Plummer trying to continue the silky skills. We've seen quite a lot of really neat skating, nice movement. Puck given away. This is Wilson. Edinburgh have looked the poor side in this final period.
Great move there by Rob Wilson to cut out that pass and then go in and take the shot. He's going for his hat-trick.
Nemeth. Back to Mike O'Connor. Wilson. Grandstand seems to have a permanent grin at the moment. Lamb. Change of direction. You think that the Steelers had at least 2 extra men on the ice. Full hand. Lose. Mike O'Connor. Nemeth waits for the drop pass from Cranston. Doesn't come. Really wasn't very far away from scoring. Now Edmiston. 3 take on 3. That's better from Edmiston. Didn't get a touch though. Front of the crease. Fast skater is Les Milley. Fenceman without a stick is Clues. One back. Priestley is in front. Full hand in possession. 3 minutes away from being crowned as champions. Bit of ice time for Neil Abel. Doesn't see so much as he used to. Palmer.
The racers really aren't getting the shots away. They're getting into the blue line, and then they're trying to take it in further. The whistle is just blown for offside. They're trying to take it in further, perhaps waiting a little too long, and then they're being either pushed into the corner or the shots are being deflected away. They really haven't had that many quality shots on goal in this period.
Well, if you haven't been with us all the afternoon, the story of the contest, 2 goals for Sheffield Steelers in the first period, coming in the space of 24 seconds between 13:10 and 13:34. In the middle period, the racers pulled it back through Hand and Palmer to make it 2-2 at 8:32 in that middle period. But then Grandstand and Priestley restored the 2-goal advantage. 4-2 at the break. 3 more goals in this final period have put Sheffield Steelers in championship position. Terry Doyle getting some time on, making sure that everybody gets on the ice in the final. Alex Dampier and Clyde Toole inside the last 2 minutes. Plummer, still Plummer. Machulik. Well, you could have read that at Haringey, let alone at Wembley.
The Steelers have obviously seen the video before. They know exactly what the racers are going to do every time now.
And Hagen with the shot that's kicked up in the air. Alan Hay getting on the ice. 1 or 2 of the lesser lights of the Steelers. At the moment anyway, might not prove to be in the longer term. Getting on in this final to say they were a part of Sheffield's first championship success.
It really does appear that the racers didn't have a game plan for this. The Steelers obviously said, look, we're going to get back in numbers, we're going to stack the blue line. And all we see now are guys like Machulik and Hand and Palmer trying to stick through a sea of black jerseys out there. It's not working.
Everything working for Sheffield. Counting down the last 30 seconds of this final. 13 in total, the 12th at Wembley. And Sheffield Steelers have just waltzed away from the opposition in the final period. Here's the skipper, Ron Shudra. Grandstand. Grandstand, as the crowd count down the last seconds. The championship goes thoroughly deservedly to the Sheffield Steelers by a score of 7-2. Second success for Alex Dampier. Last time as coach, this time as manager. He won in '89 with Nottingham Panthers. Presumably at some later stage, that little girl will be told that she was there when Sheffield won for the first time. Mutual Admiration Society on the ice and off it.
The Steelers have been a class act all season long. They got it right at the end of the season to take over their #1 spot, and they did it again this evening. They've got depth, they've got good coaching, good goaltending. What more can you say? They've proved that they deserve the following that they have. Listen to the noise. Look at these fans. Most of them are cheering for Sheffield.
#1 said the sign. No one can doubt that. They've done the league and championship double. Seventh name on the championship trophy. Just total enthusiasm around the Wembley Arena. The supporters from Edinburgh, who certainly made themselves heard in the second semi-final, are now very quiet, leaving all the noise to come from the supporters of Sheffield Steelers. Another 8,000 plus crowd, and that's the sort of crowds they're used to getting in Sheffield, and their team is about to collect the championship trophy. Chief Executive of the BAHA, David Frame, with the red tie, and in front of the table, Frederick Meredith, who is the President of the British Ice Hockey Association. Ian White, the Chairman of the event promoters, leads the presentation group.
And to collect the British Championship trophy, captain of the Sheffield Steelers,
Ron Sugar comes to collect the trophy. Deservedly won, and won with style. An excellent semi-final against Cardiff, which was undoubtedly the match of the weekend, which ended 4-4 and had to be decided in a penalty competition.